What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World, our Sacred Sunday edition. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and I always enjoy on Sunday morning, it's kind of the conclusion of a powerful weekend of Awakening World, where we take a topic and we explore it on Friday night, on Saturday night, and then we wrap it up on Sunday morning. And this weekend, we've been exploring how all of us just might be modern day mystics, how we can dance with the divine. It was inspired by a wonderful book by Sister Jenna and many of her colleagues. She was my co-host last night. And today I'm really excited because I've invited 4 remarkable human beings, all of whom I have been touched by, and from all over the world. We've got Arena, who's coming to us. She's originally Serbian, coming from Australia. We have Jorge from Peru. We have Erika, who has a really eclectic background, many rich cultures, and beautiful brother Astarius is with us. And over the course of the weekend, we've had people live stream to us from 8 different countries, and from a wide variety of nationalities. And that really excites me because this is the awakening world, and we are a global family. And along those lines, as part of the global family, I'm imagining that many of us, perhaps all of us, are deeply saddened and shocked by what's happening in Ukraine. And so I'm going to put attention on that first for our opening prayer, and then I'll introduce our guests, and then you have some wonderful people to hear from. We're going to learn a lot from our beautiful guests. Even if I had not been to the Ukraine, I'd be shocked by what was going on. But actually, as it turns out, I've been a consultant teaching compassionate communication and emotional intelligence skills to a company that has 300 employees in Kharkov, which is the second largest city in the Ukraine, and only 30 miles from the Russian border. I've been to Kharkov, I've led retreats there, and for 7 years I've been training their sales managers and their executive staff in the skills of emotional intelligence and compassionate communication. And so I have a lot of friends there and a lot of people that I know, and it's really unbelievable that something like this could happen in today's day and age. And so I am inviting and encouraging everybody to please pray for peace. And I don't bring politics into my shows. I make a strong point to be neutral and to respect both sides. I respect people who don't want to get vaccinated. I respect people who did get vaccinated, and so on and so forth. But I want to make it clear, this is not a Russia versus Ukraine political situation. This is an old paradigm military takeover, attack, versus hopefully a new consciousness. And it's interesting that the president of Ukraine has been totally compassionate while being strong and saying we're going to defend our country, but reaching out to the people of Russia, speaking to them in Russian and reminding them we're all brothers and sisters, we have no quarrel with you. And so with that, I just want to invite all of us now to take a moment, close our eyes, take a couple of deep breaths, and as we breathe, let us hold the highest vision with the prayer of maximum grace for the people in Ukraine. Maximum grace for the people in Ukraine. Maximum grace for Russia and the people of Russia. Maximum grace for all leaders to awaken and make the most loving choice. Maximum grace for all. Maximum grace for our world. Maximum grace for our awakening world. Thank you. I want to welcome all of our friends watching on 100 different Facebook pages. Thank you to the Sign Network, John and Summer Raymer, for getting us out to so many people, and especially our friends on Unify. Also want to welcome those watching on our YouTube channels or Alan Steinfeld's YouTube channel. And I want to invite you, come on into our Zoom room, come join us, because we have 4 amazing presenters, and it's going to be a very dynamic conversation. I know that Irina is going to lead a meditation. I think some of our other presenters have practices to take people through. So come on into the Zoom room, and it's really easy to do that. Just go to the globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and register. It'll take about a minute. You'll then immediately get an email that gives you the Zoom room links for all of our shows for every Friday night, every Saturday night, and every Sunday morning. So please come and join us. I'm now going to just briefly introduce our presenters so you can see who we've got. And then I'm going to ask them questions and get out of the way and get a chance for us to learn to meet them. The first presenter I'm going to bring on is Jorge Luis Delgado, coming all the way from Peru. He leads amazing retreats. He was on our show once before, and we so enjoyed his presence and his wisdom. So welcome, Jorge. It's wonderful to have you with us. Also coming back is Astarius Miraculii, beautiful brother who's been on the show several times. He's an extraordinary mystic, shaman, spiritual teacher, and sound healer, and a whole lot more. I'm so glad you're with us again, Astarius. Thank you so much. And a new friend that I just met a few weeks ago, and I was so touched by her. This is Erika. She's coming to us from San Diego, and she has a fascinating story, and I've been following her since meeting her, and I'm very, very impressed with her wisdom and her courage and her vulnerability. So welcome, Erika. And then I just invited Irina Morrison a few days ago when I saw her on another program and realized, oh my God, we've got to have her come on because she has a lot to share. And she's coming to us from Brisbane, Australia. So I just want to acknowledge the beauty of all these cultures as I look at our presenters and I see many different shades of color of skin and many different places that you have genetic background from. Irina is originally Serbian. Um, I'm originally Greek. Um, God's blessings. And again, the theme is modern day mystics becoming an urban shaman. And so I'm going to ask each of you to start with how how your journey has unfolded. Where did you begin? What was your awakening? And as they share their stories, I want to invite everybody in our Zoom room or on our Facebook pages. I'll be looking down. This is where I track what's going on Facebook. Um, to share your stories of awakening, your mystical story. Um, and so I'm going to start with Brother Astarius. Um, and welcome, brother. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to share.
Thank you so much, Scott, and peace and blessings to all of the beloveds for being here and co-creating. When I look at my journey, I guess I have to start with, that I made it through my mama's womb alive. Many don't make it through the birth canal alive, and made it through those early years. And then as a teenager, 16 years old, left my mama's house, um, took to the streets of Chicago, was a dishonor student in the University of Life's other side of the fence. All my role models, pimps, hoes, gangsters, thieves, con men, con women, drug salesmen. I was a part of that treachery for 6 years. Turned 22, and that's when the shamanic journey began. There was only one thing that happened externally that was the catalyst for that, and that was that 9 months prior to consciously stepping onto my spiritual path, I fell in love with a woman, and I was so pissed with myself about that because I didn't want to feel that way about anyone. But the Most High had a plan for me to bring me to the resonance of universal love, where I could have a love for the whole of the universe, but I couldn't come directly from that treachery to universal love. I had to come by way of feeling that much love for another human being. And that then catapulted me onto my path at 22. I came on like lightning. It was like so powerful in all of the things that I was studying and reading about. It was just a process of remembering. It wasn't like discovering something for the first time. It was very effortless. And then that universal love just came there. I just had this infinite love, for everyone. And it was really enlightened self-interest because I also knew that every being in existence was my own self by extension. And so it was really enlightened self-interest to love the whole of the universe because I recognized the universe as me. My first modality became astrology, many, many, many years ago, and then the sound healing with the didgeridoo and the vocal harmonics, and in healing with breath as well as crystal wands. I began to make crystal wands and staffs and instruments of this nature. And so, I mean, there's so many things I could say about it, but I just want to give a snapshot, of it. And one of the most profound things that has occurred for me is one, the love vibration, but also the vibration of forgiveness. I found that the most profound healing balm is that of forgiveness. And with what's happening in the Ukraine, that's certainly one of the most needed things. And sometimes when treachery goes on in the world, we give treachery for treachery, and we feel justified in reacting treacherously. And I'm so grateful that in my shamanic path and my mystical path, I have learned to make forgiveness, my ally. And so I want to just conclude or move toward a conclusion of my sharing with this poem. I call it Trust and Forgiveness. It's a selection from my book, and I think it's part of the healing balm that is necessary for the world, the Ukraine, as well as the world at large. Trust and forgiveness, the sacred twins. Trust brought us to this earth to heaven. Forgiveness ascends. The rage of resentment blocks the lessons we must learn, and the darkest of relationships then constantly return. The weapon of distrust breed The horrors of our pain and distrustful ones will come to us until we trust again. Forgiveness is the master key opening the cage to set us free from distrust, misery, pain, and strife from those we feel have wrecked our life. Who can do a thing to you that you yourself did not create? Will you place blame outside yourself, or was it you who wove your fate? The past we reap, the future we sow, the present collects the debts we owe. If we had not the need, there would be no dirty deed, much wisdom to be gained from the center of our pain. Forgiveness is a must, for it teaches us to trust. Suspicion is a hungry beast that rips away our inner peace. Let go now of past resentment toward fallen love or yesterday. If not, our past repeats itself and steals the joy of this great day. If we don't forgive the past, we can't trust the present, and we then attract a future untrustworthy and unpleasant. Forgiving the past, trusting the present, making the future sweet and pleasant, blessing the darkness, making it right, reversing the tide, and freeing the light. And forgiveness has been one of the greatest alchemies for me, and I think it is for all of us in the world, and certainly needed at this particular time. And I love you so much.
Mm, thank you. Beautiful. What a beautiful, beautiful start, and such an important message for us, Astarius. And of course, Astarius will be back. We've got a wonderful hour and a half together. So thank you so much, my friend. I really want for people to share. And so I'm going to read Jeffrey Colebrook in our Zoom room, shared a little bit, and then we're going to meet Erika. Jeffrey wrote, in 1967, I was deeply seeking something, help in meditation, and then all of a sudden there was no outside me. I was all that I saw. Everything and everyone was inside of me, and the journey continues in oneness. Evolution is the solution. So thank you. And wow, that's 1967. That's a long time ago that you had that awakening. And of course, people are thanking you very much, Astarius, for that beautiful sharing. I'm now going to bring on Erika. And I have been so impressed with how you've shared your story of awakening, Erika. And so I'm going to put the full spotlight on you, and please do share with our audience your story.
Thank you, Scott. So I am Erika, and I first want to give honor to those in the Ukraine, and big prayers to the Ukraine. And I really love this idea of forgiveness. I believe it's the biggest practice we can all master each and every single moment. I know that I'm always forgiving my ancestors, my mom, my father, and those who have, been in the place of shame. So a lot of my story has a lot to do with shame. And it started when I was sexually abused every day with a gun next to my mother's bed. And I think it was the biggest blessing that I realized it was my initiation to the place of becoming a self-pleasure shaman. And it took me many moments to get into the realm of forgiveness. And it started by just learning how to connect with my breath in meditation. And a big practice for me has been learning to forgive. And one of my favorite memories of forgiveness has a lot to do when I started getting into a practice of meditation. And it's not the formal type of meditation where we listen to an audio track. It's really learning to be without sound and being in relationship to silence. Why silence? Sometimes silence can bring uncomfortable feelings of belonging, and sometimes memories come up. And for me, when I was in silence, I had this deep memory of my stepfather. And I felt that I was ready to let that story go, let that suffering go. And in that moment, I discovered that I was pure and I was a joyful little girl. And all of you are joyful children. All of you are joyful children. Because that is our divinity. That is our mysticism. That is the start to stepping into the role of shaman, healer. And it really comes down to the fundamentals of love, especially the love to ourselves and learning how to embrace our sexuality. That is my mission. That is what I stand for. What really started my journey to awakening was when I started writing my Sacred Prostitute Chronicles, and this was actually last year. So my history is after my childhood, I got into the sex industry for almost a decade, thinking I'm only going to be in this industry for a few months. And I realized that I have not fully owned that story. I was in and out. And then I realized I need to forgive myself. The biggest person I needed to forgive was not my mom, was not my stepdad, was the little girl within me, being the role model for my inner child. And so I started writing these chronicles. And I was like curious. I said, I don't know what a self-pleasure shaman looks like. And I'm always discovering that. I'm not an expert, but the best experts know nothing. The best masters know nothing. And that is something that I've learned from meditation. Like right now, I'm not planning to, didn't plan what to say, but I am speaking from my heart. And I believe that when you speak from your heart and let go of the knowledge, all of the wisdom comes through. And so my journey to becoming a self-pleasure shaman was literally asking myself, what do I not know today? And how can I love myself even deeper? And sharing my story from a place of trust and forgiveness. And one of my favorite practices that I encourage you all is to start writing the new story. And maybe the first part of it is sharing your fears. So for me, one of my practices besides meditation and Wim Hof and forgiveness is actually writing, because it confronts us with the old narrative, the hero's journey. And the hero's journey is beautiful. There's ups, there's downs. We meet the uncomfortable characters in our lives, the evil villains, the damsels in distress. And we realize that it's all perfect. It's all perfect to always start to discover our new tale. And even as I'm sharing this, I'm still rediscovering what a self-pleasure shaman is. I'm still discovering who Erika is and connecting with my ancestors. The more that I let go and unlearn, the more I remember my divinity. And that is my invitation for all of you, is to remember your divinity by letting go of the stories that are disempowering, the stories that are making you feel wrong, the stories about the people that hurt you. And sometimes the best thing to do is just let it go. And release is the biggest practice for me. And it has a lot to do with Tantra. So part of self-pleasure is tapping into the Tantra realms. And I'm not speaking about classical Tantra. It's the Tantra that we all have naturally. The laughter, the joy, the connection, the vulnerability, the ugly cries. And so all of that is available to us. All of that is available to us by just trusting our voice, using your voice. And I will say that when I started this journey, I was afraid of using my voice. And I was told, don't talk about your story. Don't share it. Don't tell anyone. Be in the realm of secrecy. I lived in the realm of secrecy for years. And I never imagined being on such a beautiful platform where I could express with other co-creators and sharing that story, because someone out there is needing that, to feel a sense of hope, resilience. And so it's important to share your truth, because right now Ukraine needs it, the world needs it. And so I am Erika, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Erika, I so honor you, and I so appreciate so many of the things that you've just shared are really important. I just want to bookmark a couple things for people. As a coach that's worked with thousands of people, I've come to believe that shame is the great human epidemic. And what you're modeling so beautifully is how you took profound wounding that most of us cannot even imagine, and have gone through that wounding and through your process and your journey to embrace yourself. I love that you embrace your inner child and understand the purity of the inner child, because so often when people, especially children, have been abused, they create a false narrative that there's something wrong with them, that there's something dirty about them, that that's the way the world is going to treat them. And so to embrace the purity of the inner child, regardless of what's happened, is so powerful. Thank you for that. And then to overcome any shame story, to embrace the way that you do, it's a beautiful modeling for all of us. Everybody, I'm sure, can relate to some of what you've shared. So thank you, Erika. And she'll be back with more. I'm going to read a couple more comments, and then we're going to hear from Jorge in Peru. But I'm really appreciating all of you who are writing in the chat box. This is something in reference to what Erika was just talking about. Christine writes, the shadow of the 24th gene key is addiction. The gift is invention, and the city is silence. Thank you, Erika, for trusting in the silence. And that's from Christine. Another example of an awakening that has been shared is Karima writes, I was told in an Easter vision to leave my life behind and go live in solitude and in the mountains. Rumi is the first master who came. I learned I was born on his birthday. We communed for 2 years. I began writing ecstatic poetry, cdclation.com, etc. Rumi guided me to the Sufis, who are true mystics, and I became a Sufi minister. So thank you for sharing that story, Karima. Thank you so much. Oh, there she is. I'll put her on the spotlight for a minute. There she is. Thank you for sharing that beautiful story. In honor of Rumi, I'm going to actually tell a brief story about Rumi, and then we'll hear from Jorge and Irina. A lot of people don't know what I'm about to share, so that's why I love the opportunity to share it when Rumi comes up. First off, Rumi is the best-selling poet in America year after year after year. A 12th century Islamic, probably gay mystic is the best-selling poet in America. That's pretty cool. Why is that? Why is it? What is it about his poetry that speaks to us so profoundly? Well, many people don't know his full story. Rumi was a very beloved Sufi master. And in middle age, he was already beloved, had a large following as a teacher. He met a wild man named Shams. And Shams was a drunk. He was outrageous, and he basically got kicked out of every village he went to because he pissed everybody off. He was kind of like the Jim Morrison of the Doors of his time, if you will. So Shams comes into Rumi's village, and Rumi and Shams fall in love. We don't know if the love was physical or if it was just rooted in their mutual love of the mystic path, of discovering the eternal beloved. But there was something about their relationship that so offended Rumi's son and closest followers that they hired thugs to kidnap Shams where they took him out to the desert. He was murdered. His body was never found. He was never seen again. When Rumi discovered the double horror that this man that he loved had been murdered, and his own son and followers were behind this crime, of course his whole world fell apart. And he just experienced himself spinning. And he stood up and he started to spin around and around and around in the room that he was in. And the whirling dervish tradition began with Rumi spinning. That's where that whole tradition began. And as he was spinning and his heart was breaking, he made a profound choice, which he speaks to in much of his poetry, that he was going to seek to find Shams and the eternal beloved through the pathway of the broken heart. And so that's why when you read the poetry and where he's saying, stomp on my heart and drink from the wine, that comes from the grapes of my broken heart, this is what he's referencing from his own personal life. And that profound choice of recognizing that the broken heart can be a pathway to greater love, to greater wisdom. And that's what Erika has spoken of. It's what Astarius started us off with forgiveness. And so I love that Rumi came into our consciousness, and I hope that story is one that is inspirational for all of you. We are going to Peru, and Peru is coming to us. I am so grateful. Thank you for your patience and waiting. Here is Jorge Luis Delgado coming to us from Peru. And Jorge, I am so eager for you to share a little bit about your story of awakening and becoming the shaman that you are. You're muted, Jorge. I need you to unmute.
Ajin Punchai. The impact of the light in each of you is magnificent. It's so great honor to be in this beautiful circle of light. Today, in this special day, remembering each other, everybody, we had such extraordinary experiences in our lives that give us the opportunity to keep blooming. One of the most precious teachings from the elders from the Andes is that we are one big family. All the creatures of the Mother Earth, everybody who drinks the milk of the Mother Earth, that is water, is our family. So, it was not that easy to understand for me at some point, Well, the insects, the animals, the little birds, the plants, the stones, how come they can be our family? We are maybe superior, something like that, the ego, the human ego. But I was at Lake Titicaca preparing, the space where we will do a dreaming with a beautiful group from North America. As usually I guide groups in the power places of the children of the sun. So I was in the Lake Titicaca with a little reed boat. I went inside where the reeds are growing. However, it was a very small reed boat. I went between the reeds. And at some point, I was lying down there, watching up. And suddenly, a flock of yellow-winged black seaskins arrived with such amazing melodies. And I was so impressed by the colors, the yellow, the black, the colors of the bill, the legs. And they noticed I was there. So I thought that they will go away because they saw some human around. So suddenly they watched me and some other birds arrived. And it was there the many-colored Rouge Tyrant, which is one of the most beautiful birds at the Lake Titicaca. It has 7 colors. So I could see clearly the reds, the blue, the yellows, the colors that it has in the neck, in the crest, in all parts. And I noticed this bird noticed I was there. And he was building like a nest in between the reeds. The feeling I had in that moment was just that joy to have the opportunity to experience the beloved mother. The mother was speaking to me, and I was listening the heart of the mother through the beauty of the bird, listening the sound of the bird, listening the silence, listening life. The relationship with the birds, with the plants, with the same lake, it changed totally. Because before I used to see from outside the beauty of the lake, you see, everywhere is very, very picturesque, all the lake. But I was just looking only the physical body. When I start to have this experience, I start to see the soul of the mother. I start to feel it. It's in my heart. It is in my mind. It is in each creature of the Mother Earth. So much later, when I went to Machu Picchu, one of the nights, I was guiding a group there. And usually we used to have the entrance at the night. Amazing experience. We had a circle. I was with my closed eye. I was doing the invocation with the different names or different aspects of divinity. So I was starting with Illa Tixi Wiracochan, Kaya Moyo, Apu Kuntishi Wiracocha Pacha, Achaya Chacha, all these qualities of the light, the aspects of the light, the names we can say of divinity. And suddenly one of the persons very loud said, "Wow, it's coming." And I thought that the guardian is coming, Maybe we are in the wrong place, but normally we used to do ceremonies there. Anyway, I said, what's coming? And they say, the condor is coming. And I opened my eye, and in front of us, from the Anantin mountain, a huge cloud with the shape of a condor was moving the wings, and we could hear the sound of the wind, the sound of the wings of the condor. Everybody was in tears. Everyone, like 25, 30 people in this group. So we went 40 people, but at the night, I think it was our second or third night there because we used to stay 1 week. So next day, my teacher was, you know what? You saw God. You could not see it before, but he was always there. So I start to understand we have much to learn through this Amuki. Amuki is the silence. As we bring peace with our histories, as we really pay attention to our most important mission, to clarify our histories, to let go of the past. Because for our culture, the past, it's not behind. The past is in front of us. Is what we don't change. We keep seeing it. We see it until we let it go. So it's controlling us. It is giving the perception of life. Our point of view, it comes from there. from the past that's in front of us. So the past needs to go. But of course, everybody's agreed. It's all about love. It's all about forgiveness. So the different aspects and the different qualities of the light is so important to bring this awareness, to bring the first quality that is clarity, to clarify our past, to understand clearly we come from love, so we are love. Until here is just information. It becomes in wisdom when we really apply that light. That light is so wise, and we accept our own light. We experience our own light. That light is love. That light is wise. That light is in service to light. So it's in service to light. So when we start to understand the Mother Earth, the Father Son, every day is teaching us, is remembering us. The Father Son every day says, be warm. Every children of the Son is warm. That means the affection to ourselves, the warm words we use with ourselves is so important. If we observe the words we use with ourselves, we will see that most of the words are cold words. Most of these words are negative words, negative thoughts. So when we observe, we start the process to see that all these words, all these thoughts are just from the mind. It doesn't come from the inner self. So we start to see with the eye of the heart. We start to listen with the heart. We start to experience with the inner sun. So we can see the birds. We can see the plants. We can see the trees, the lakes, the river. All the elements as part of our huge family that all we are interconnected. So for this, the first mission to let it go, and as we love ourselves, we bring our contribution. That contribution to love ourselves is to bring more harmony and peace in our hearts. The peace in our world, it starts always in each of us. It's not only about the government. It is all together a state of consciousness.
Oh, just so beautiful. Your voice and your passion and the way you've integrated what you're sharing with us. You just took us on a beautiful journey. And thank you for reminding us about connection to nature and how that is so important, especially in this world where we're all so digital. Thank you. Thank you. And we're going to, of course, hear more from you, Jorge. I'm so grateful that you're with us. And your internet connection was good. We were able to hear everything quite well. So thank you. And we'll see you in a moment. I'll bring you back on in a moment. I'm going to read just a couple of more comments, and then we have our fourth presenter, Irina. Prashat wrote, as Rumi said, the wound is the place where the light enters you. So lovely that I said that story, because that's exactly how Prashat started whirling and having the experience of dancing with the divine. She also says, getting out of the universe's way, allowing the divine to dance through her. So thank you for sharing that, Prashat. And Patricia Wagner just wrote, as one of Barbara Marx Hubbard's ACE students in 2012, I held a Looking for the Light Birth 2012 party in December of 2012. I invited everyone who had in any way helped me bring Looking for the Light forward. There were 22 people who attended. My invitation included live streaming an AGNT, that's the Association of a Group for New Thought, event from Agape, and serving a large buffet as guests enjoyed each other's company. And she goes on, it's kind of a long story, so I'm going to kind of cut to the chase here. Everybody came together looking for the light and doing an affirmation of it's all light, it's all good, it's all God. And with that, there was a shift in consciousness. She immediately felt a laser-like, intense light streaming through the den window and vividly remained for several hours. The guest of honor was the light, and the guest of honor, the light, had come to the party. Thank you for sharing that story. Thank you. All right. Thank you for your patience, Irina. This is Irina coming to us from Australia, and she's also a wise woman. I heard her speak the other day, and it was like, would you please come on my show this Sunday? I know it's short notice. It was like a chat because she was on a Zoom show that I was watching. She said, yes, I will. So, Irina, thank you for being with us, and I'm eager for you to share whatever is alive in your heart to share, kind of on this topic.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for inviting me and having me here. It's such a pleasure to be in this company. We're experiencing severe weather conditions here in Brisbane at the moment. It's been raining heavily with floods since Friday. But with that, it comes an element of purification. So there's a strong sense of purification with element of water at the moment. And just watching this downpour and the weather conditions, it reminded me of my own journey of awakening, which has a lot to do with purification. So I was introduced to meditation when I was 15 years old, and I was very disciplined and meditating regularly for 2 years. And then, of course, I was, starting to go out and indulging in earthly entertainment, going out and drinking and partying, and that moved me away from practice of meditation and disconnected me from my soul self for many, many years. Even after, I don't know, maybe 15, 17 years, when I started practicing yoga, that was my next step of coming back to my soul self. So with the deepening of that practice of yoga and coming back to meditation, first my physical body was purifying again. And a lot of stuck emotions, the toxic patterns, the toxic pattern of thought was starting to release. And the deeper awakening was happening at the time as well, as my body purified, as my mind purified, my heart and my soul was purifying as well. So the heart's voice through that purification was coming through clearer and clearer. Therefore, my values were purifying as well. My decision making was much clearer and coming from that heart place. So my message today for the world and for the audience at the moment is one of purification. So whatever practice is calling you to purify your physical body, your thoughts and your heart, that's the practice that you should be pursuing and getting deeper into. It's also a reminder that our physical self and our spiritual self are one. So we can't ascend, we can't transcend just with, with our spirit. Our physical body comes with us as well.
Thank you so much for that reminder, because so often Sometimes there's kind of a trap I find in the spiritual community of people who are so eager to get out of their bodies. I think we've all had friends who are like, oh my God, I want this to be my last lifetime. I want to get out of my body. And then sometimes they're getting out of the body through use of drugs, which is plant medicine is wonderful. And we do shows on plant medicine, but even that can be overused. Anything can be overused. And one of the things that I'm noticing is that, to be very honest, a lot of the people in my generation, the baby boomers, were all about getting out of their body. My friends that are millennials are like, no, it's about being in the body fully. And I think that there's a nice shift taking place where we're realizing, look, the body is this incredible sacred temple. We are so blessed to have these bodies. And as we learn how to manage the illusion of separation, which causes so much emotional pain, and embrace our oneness, then we can embrace our bodies. And thank you for reminding us about purification. I'm on the 13th day of a 28-day cleanse, so I can personally
Oh,
relate. Um,
that's fantastic.
yeah, yeah. So thank you. You mentioned that you had a practice you wanted to take people through.
Yes,
It's
if this is a good time, yes, absolutely.
We're just about halfway through the show, so it might be good to do a practice, and then we'll do another round with Astarius and our other presenters, Jorge and Arika. So, what's the practice you'd like to share?
So I would like to share a little meditation. So to take everyone through meditation to drop deeper into the heart space, to really tap into that essence, the pure essence of the divinity within each one of us, but also into our creative self, the alchemist that lives in all of us. So if we ready, we can take a comfortable position, gently closing your eyes. Gently gather attention to the center of your chest. Feel the expansion and contraction of your chest and your entire abdomen. And as you relax in each moment, allow your mind to be filled with beautiful images, but without any attachment, without any force. Whatever comes to your mind, just simply appreciate. Images might come and go. Let them. Whatever comes through. A beautiful nature scenery, or your favorite animal, or your loved ones. Let it come through. And then simply let it go. Just like every day as sun rises and sets, and every day there is something new to experience. And so are you. Continually discovering more of who you are, exploring, realizing your true essence. So let us take a moment to tune into the field of that essence of purity, simplicity, your divine beauty. Let your breath guide you into the inner space of your heart center. Feel it. Feel it in the middle of your chest. There's a vast space, an infinite space. Feel into the texture, the vibration of that space. Feel the infinity. Feel the divinity. As without, so within. Let us reflect internally. Just as that infinite space in the center of your chest, so is your potential, infinite potential. Feel into the vibration, the frequency of your infinite potential. And just as an infinite space in the center of your chest, so are the possibilities in front of you. Feel into the vibration, the frequency of endless possibilities in front of you. And just as an infinite space in the center of your chest, so is your creativity. Feel into the vibration, the essence, the frequency of your creative self. And as you go about your day later on, consciously direct energy through the power of intention. Experience of life is experience of creation. How we maneuver energy to matter. Allow each moment to move graciously and fluidly. Allow your heart to stay connected to the divine. Our real nature is infinite. When ready, slowly open your eyes. Coming back to the screen, to this very moment, so we continue to share together. Namaste.
Thank you so much. That was lovely. I want to invite everybody watching in our Zoom room or on Facebook to share any thoughts, anything. What came up for you during this beautiful meditation? What are some of the images that maybe came to mind when she called for that? I actually was thinking of my dogs and playing with my dogs. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you everyone for joining in this practice. Thank you. Such a pleasure and honor.
Christine writes, thank you, Irina, and everyone. Beautiful Irina. Thank you, Irina. We are infinite, together. Lots and lots of thank yous coming in. Dancing in the Moonlight is what came up for Christy Michaels. So, Irina will be back. I'm going to do one more round. I'm going to ask each of our presenters a question now that's kind of specific to some of their wisdom. And so bringing back beautiful brother Astarius. Astarius, you are a master sound healer, among many other things. And I would love for you to share any wisdom or tools for how people can use sound or voice for connection to the divine, for connecting more completely. Um, uh, and thank you.
Okay. Well, sound is the primordial first cause. Sound is the means by which all things have found their way into being. Many years ago, 27 years ago or so, when I first started playing the didgeridoo, before I could play very well at all, I formulated a mantra declaration, and I would say, dream awake the mastery of every didgeridoo healer and player from beginningless beginning to endless end in my own mastery and expression. So I would own the mastery of all players. And when I would listen to amazing pieces of didgeridoo music, I would say, oh my God, look at what an amazing offering I'm giving through that part of me. So to accelerate in the mastery of sound, it is important to be at resonance with the infinite, eternal, omnipresent, all-dimensional reality of the sound healing frequency. So much of the trap is that when we pursue the mastery of sound or any mastery, we're tending to measure our mastery by the exclusiveness of our individual masterful expression. But what it takes to make up my mastery is not just the exclusive, individualized mastery that I own and transmit, but rather the all-inclusive mastery of every being that is, was, or ever will be, even unto the very creation of the universe. See, when God Goddess made celestial love and brought forth this universe into being, because every time is now, every space is here, and every one is us, we can commemorate the ancient origin of the universe from the past. We can pre-memorate, that which is in the future. For example, we can pre-memorate the redemption of our world, that future time within our world where we have no more of this twisted maliciousness and manipulation and control and bureaucratic bullying and legalized gangsterism, sometimes called government. There's a time in the future where that is no more. We can use the frequency of sound, which is also consciousness, to pre-memorate the reality of the exaltation of our world. So we own the all-dimensionality of it. You see, every being accomplishing anything, anywhere, is our own self by extension. And if we would own that, then it would be like linking up the telepathic battery cables, our heart mind to their heart mind, and initiating the soul jumpstart. And we jumpstart ourselves individually by virtue of the universal frequencies of sound mastery, that we witness. It can be relative to sound, it can be relative to anything. And then, of course, the frequency of self-love. Self-love will bring us into a mastery on every level, whether it be sound, whether it be meditation, whether it be teaching, whether it be singing, whatever. The frequency of self-love is so profoundly powerful. I did a video that I released on YouTube a couple of weeks ago, or sometime shortly after Valentine's Day, and I said, I am the love of my life. So many times we will think of this or that person or the great love in our life. And usually the love of our life is ascribed to someone that we were dancing with. But the greatest truth is you are the love of your life. I am the love of my life. But when I start from that premise that I, as the individual resonance of my own beingness, am the love of my life, then I can extend it forward. And then you also are the love of my life because you're an extension of me. The universe is the love of my life. It's an extension of me. The oceans, the mountains, the streams, the galaxy, the stars, everything, the love of my life. Erika was speaking about self-love, and self-love is really an effortless vibration. Sometimes we think of it as being something so difficult, something hard to do. But self-love is really effortless because self-love is co-eternal with God. Just as God is unfolding down the corridors of forever, self-love is unfolding down the corridors of forever. A wise person once said that God has a center that is everywhere and a circumference that is nowhere. There is no center where God's presence is not, and there is no circumference that can bind the expansion of God. There's no circumference that can bind the expansion of you or me. So even when we are in the illusion of self-loathing or self-hatred, in that very same moment, there's this greater expanse of who we are that is standing in the circle of eternity, loving us forever and ever and ever and ever, while we have got caught in the nightmare of the earth dream and the illusion that we don't love ourselves. You can't not love yourself. You can allow yourself to be hijacked and molested by the illusion that you don't love you. See, and what makes self-love easy and all expressions of love easy is the recognition that you don't do love. Love does you. And when you know that, you just let love love you. You let love have its way with you. See, one of the powerful energies of transcending and coming into the full resonance of the mysticism that we are, the shamanic frequency that we are. And of course, when we use, the sound frequency, it's the sonic shamanic tonic. But, Erika also spoke about shame and overcoming shame. Shame is one of the biggest enemies that we could possibly have. And one of the things that's important for us to understand about shame is that if I am in a state of shame, I am by extension engaging in inner child abuse.
Mm.
Because who takes the brunt of the pain of my shame would be baby Astarius, little Miraculii. My twins. Everybody has an inner child. I have twins. Baby Astarius and little Miraculii. So, beloveds, I want you to remember that when you're being hard on yourself, when you're criticizing yourself, when you're talking down to yourself, I want you to think of what it would be like to draw back and punch a little 1-year-old you in the face. Because that's exactly what's happening. Shame is inner child abuse. And the shame of the drop is the shame of the ocean. If you shame yourself as an individual, then you are shaming the universe. Because the shame hurled unto the drop is the shame hurled unto the ocean. And we certainly don't want to do that to the universe. So we want to transcend that resonance of shame, and we want to look at all of those who have been very masterful in the transcendence of shame. We want to say, oh my God, look at how powerfully I have transcended shame through that part of me and this part of me and that. You see, so we initiate that soul jump start. See, even now, this forum and this spiritual discourse that we're sharing is reaching out and empowering every other spiritual discourse that is, was, or ever will be, and is in turn being empowered by every other spiritual discourse that is, was, or ever will be. Because not only is there a oneness of wholeness of being, there is a oneness of wholeness of the spiritual discourse,
Mm.
a oneness of wholeness of the victory over shame, a oneness of wholeness of the sacredness of sexuality. And we
Mm.
have to own that. There's no more renting with option to buy with regards to our sacred sexuality. We must own that, because neither one of us could be in incarnation without the sacredness of that sexual force, that seed from father and that egg from mother. And so we want to come back to the sacredness of that. And if we're having an individual difficulty in that, then let's look at the heroes and sheroes that have risen up really high,
Mm.
that walk in the erotic innocence and that walk in the sacredness of sexuality. Some people wonder, why am I creatively blocked? Well, the same energy that makes a baby and brings erotic pleasure is the same energy that writes a book, starts a business, manifests a house, manifests a car, or an up-leveled expression of being. We got to have sacred use for the juice. Time to reconnect with the sexual justifier and to recognize the innocence of that. The very birth of the universe is the result of the celestial copulation of God, Goddess Absolute. God, Goddess Absolute, making love at the celestial level and birthing the whole of the universe. And so in this moment, what we want to do is know that we are a microcosm of the Akashic records, a microcosm of the book of God's remembrance, and everything that is, was, or ever will be is known inside of us. So let's feel now together. Let's feel the birth of the universe and the power and the bliss and the love that was felt by a creator source upon birthing this great universe. And we want to give that energy to whatever it is that we're wanting to individually manifest. And we want to give that energy of the birth of the universe to the redemption of our world. We want a better world. We want a world, that is full of love and brotherhood and sisterhood, and where we have each other's caboose. You see, we're really there for each other. And even though there's so much within our world that feels really twisted, we can transcend that twistedness. And in truth, it's already done. Everything that is to be already is. Let's be where we're going before we get there. So let's take this energy of the birth of the universe and the exaltation that was felt by God, Goddess Absolute. And let's pour out the baptism of that upon this, our now moment, as we also pre-memorate the absolute victory of our world in the future. And we bring, through this pre-memoration, the victory of our world in the future to harmonically converge with this now memoration of this our now moment during these our now times. And we rise up through this vibration. And we come into the resonance of the great femifestation, the womb of creation, the primordial cause of all manifestations. Manifestation, the second coming of reality, is born of emotion in its totality. Thoughts and feelings create all forms, and blessings thrive before they are born. So through great prior appreciation, flood your life with manifestations. The great femifestation is eternal, a never-ending, formless stream of life. If manifestation is your only thrill, you're in the grips of fear and strife. Forms will come and forms will go. This is a truth that we all know, and all things of time and space at some point will be erased. Faith is the substance of all desires, the evidence of that which is not seen. So celebrate the unseen goodness, and all the riches of form are then yours to redeem. When the miracles of your life are still sleeping in the void, skyrocket your gratitude, and they come leaping from the void. You're pregnant with every blessing that will ever come to be. Embryos within your soul, though human eyes have yet to see. So see with the eye of mind and heart. In the infinite realms of the great unseen, choose wonderful feelings without concrete reasons, and all the riches of the kingdom are now yours to redeem. The great manifestation, the womb of creation, the primordial cause of all manifestations. And with this breath, I blow out the baptism of the creation of the universe upon the redemption of our world and the acceleration of your creative fulfillment and fruition. Oh, Ashe, Amen, Namaste, Hotep, in Lakesh, Alakin, Shalom, Satnam, Hariom, Rastafari. Our sacred juices are cooked in infinitely expanding Juicefari, Blistafari. Gonna always have many miles on our smile, wiggle in our giggle and tingling in our boots, laughter ever after, putting our strut, wings on our butt, always rising up. Up at the top, there's room for all. It's just the bottom that's crowded, y'all. So it is, and so it shall eternally be.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, beautiful brother Astarius. And
I love you so much.
I want to encourage everyone to go to his website. It's his name, Astarius, Astarius.com. And there's a beautiful sound healing video right at the top that I've played on my shows before with his beautiful didgeridoo. And there's a lot of wonderful things. So please, and you can contact him. His phone number is right there. If you want private coaching, personal sound healing, any of the beautiful, beautiful offerings. And thank you for sharing time with us this morning. I love you, bro. I'm so honored.
Love
Thank you.
brother.
Thank you. See you soon. And of course, a lot of people are writing how much they enjoyed that. Well, I'm going to bring Erika up next for kind of her second and concluding round. And Erika, as I was kind of thinking what I wanted to ask you, I'd love any practices that you can offer for people taking steps towards releasing shame, towards more self-pleasure. What are some practical steps that you could offer to our viewers, people watching?
This is such a beautiful question. The practice is no different than singing, than dancing, than writing, than playing. That is a simple practice. But when it comes to shame, it's a heavy emotion. And I think I saw that someone was asking, what is shame? And there's a difference between shame and guilt. Shame is a vibration of I am bad, and guilt is a vibration of I did something wrong. So shame is, like Astarius said, is just abusing our inner child, saying negative things about ourselves. And what is a great practice is noticing when you're starting to get into that language. And for me, my first language is Spanish, so I'm always learning to be gentle on myself. So the first step is be the gentle observer. Just notice what are the thoughts that are playing around. And if you're really good at meditating, then practice meditating when you're walking, as I see Scott is really good at walking meditation, but be the gentle observer. And before I got onto the show, I said, I don't know if I'm a self-pleasure shaman. I haven't studied shamanism. So I started to notice the monkey mind. And the second part is being vulnerable, being honest with what is present. I have a habit of being in denial. I have a habit of, oh yes, I'm gonna have the ring light. And but the best thing is to practice vulnerability. And there's something that my friend Juliana Garcia teaches me. There's a difference between vulnerability and elegant vulnerability. And elegant vulnerability is when you separate the story from the emotion, is when you separate the story from the emotion, and that is wisdom. So when you're in the space of elegant vulnerability, you're being able to teach your story from a place of wisdom, from a place of the shaman. So when I started writing my chronicles, I was writing from a place of how can I share the story to the younger version of me? How can I share this from the ancestor that I desire to become? Because all of you are ancestors. You don't have to be dead to be an ancestor. You can be an ancestor to your inner child. So again, a big practice is be the gentle observer, be vulnerable, find a safe space to speak about it. Obviously, this is a safe space to talk about sexuality, to talk about the taboo. And for me, some of the safe spaces have been sex positive containers, being connected to people that will not judge me. But most important is to not judge yourself. Most important is to not judge yourself. And that is a practice, noticing the judgmental voice, noticing the voice of shame. And Carl Jung says that shame is a soul-sucking emotion. And to be in the place of self-pleasure, it doesn't mean that it has to be sexual. Just because I say self-pleasure doesn't always have to be about masturbation. It could always just use of easy fundamental tools of sound, breath, movement, presence. Sound, you can use your voice. And when I say use your voice, use the voice from your core, the root. And Rumi says, return to the root of within, is one of my favorite poems of Rumi. And so use sound. And when you use sound, if you're noticing that there is an easiness, or if you're noticing that maybe there's like some shame coming up of using your voice, that is the block. When I think of block, is the thing that we're afraid to say, the sounds that we're afraid to make. Maybe it's an animalistic growl. Ah! And that could just be an exercise. That can be a practice. You don't have to have a didgeridoo. You don't have to be a world-renowned poet. You don't have to be a Rumi. You just have to play with that animalistic sound within you. And then, of course, movement. For me, dancing is my way of being into my shamanism. It's free. This is all available to you. And if you have a story about, oh, I can't dance, actually, you don't have to be perfect. Let go of that story. Let go of the story that you have to be perfect. And presence is, again, being the gentle observer. Part of presence is actually connecting to your breath. And this is one of my favorite mantras, is breath is your lover. If you treat breath as your favorite lover, you're gonna be present. So those are my key practices, and I'm complete.
Thank you so much, Erika. I am going to, two things. Thank you for helping to differentiate between guilt and shame. That's really, really important. And really, the way to heal or manage shame is self-love. And a way to manage guilt is to find your care underneath it. You only feel guilty because you care, right? You feel guilty that you didn't call your mother because you care about your mother. You feel guilty that you were cross with the way you spoke to someone because you care about that person. And one of our people, Erika, one of the people in the Zoom room asked a question, shouldn't older, bigger, stronger people feel shame, blame, guilt for what they've done to younger, weaker, pure, innocent ones? And I appreciate the honesty of that question. And for me, it would be shame, guilt is never valuable. There's always a higher option. And the higher option is to seek to understand. Now, set boundaries, absolutely set boundaries, but when any human being is wrapped up in guilt or wrapped up in shame, they're contracting, they're disconnecting from life force, they're disconnecting from spirit, they're dropping into the illusion of separation, and that just perpetuates the negative cycles. And Erika, is there anything you want to add to that?
I'm just really grateful to be here. And I think this is a powerful conversation to have, to step into the light. Like, we are all light. The more that we have these conversations, we're able to transmute the energy of war into the energy of love.
Yeah. I know, so people have already said they're signing up for your newsletter. This is where you can find Erika. It's her name, Erikaa. There's two A's. Erika.
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 Yes.
I'm working
You
on
got
it.
it, Scott. You got it.
Good, thank you. And then her last name, Briones, Briones. ERIKAA And is there any particular upcoming workshop or something you'd like for us to point out to people?
Yes, there is an upcoming workshop happening March 5th. So this is specifically for women overcoming heartbreak.
Wow.
So I believe heartbreak brings up a lot of shame and guilt, and there will be dancing, there will be movement. I will be doing some healing called emotional clearing. It's a modality to clear some of the heavy blocks, to be able to make decisions from the place of lightness, from the place of peace. So this is one of my last workshops for now, but I am just so excited to just invite some of the women to come into this container for healing, because I believe that, I'm not here to heal. I believe it's a collective healing that we need. The idea that we need a guru is changing. We're now in the lane of community. Community is healing. So I'm not here to be your guru. I'm not here to be your shaman. I believe that we're here to be a collective, and within the collective, there is a healing. So that is my invitation to come join this workshop. If you have a sister, if you have a cousin that is overcoming heartbreak, and heartbreak is really like the energy of grief, the energy of sadness. And so I will definitely be doing a healing. So.
And that's on March 5th. And what time is that going to be?
10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Great. Thank you so much for blessing our world with your presence, for your wisdom, your vulnerability, your honesty, and just your Erika.
Erika. Erika. That's my sound.
There we go. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right. I am bringing up Jorge for his kind of final sharing of the day. And thank you again for being with us from Peru and your patience. And I hope you've enjoyed the other presenters. And Jorge, I'm just going to open it up to anything you want to share, because just listening to your voice is healing. You have such a beautiful voice. What do you want to share next?
Thank you very much. As we introduce a little bit, nature, it is one of the most beautiful ways how we can nurture our souls. Most of the time, people ask me, what for you need to nurture your soul? It's so important to really have the ability to be stronger, to have this energy to connect with the soul and the heart. As much we do that, we have stronger roots with the Mother Earth. So we open ourselves to be nurtured by the Mother Earth. As we walk by the sea, connection with the Mother Sea, be guided with the emotional body. As we connect with the wind, we let the wind let blow our negativity, our thoughts, and we bring new dreams from our hearts. Contemplation, is one of the ways how we let the mother come into our soul, out by our eyes, those windows, those portals that will let that light come to us so we become powerful. What is power for the Incas? For the Incas, power is light. So our light has the opportunity to shine in our paths, to illuminate our paths. Each of us, we have the destiny to illuminate our lives. So in this way, we are illuminating the new world, the new day, the new era. So for our tradition, it's so important all the practices that there is in the world, but be consistent with some of these practices. It's so important to see if we stop or we keep growing, we keep blooming. So important for us to see if we can expand our light. How we see it, we see it through our relations. Everybody agrees, it's all about love. It's all about light. But how we see it, if we are growing or we stop. We can see it in the world we stuck, because one of these relations, it's very clear, it's not working. It's not in harmony. But the first relation to harmonize is our relationship with the Mother Earth. If we are grateful with the Mother, if we are in a constant conversation, if we take care of the Mother, how we take care of the Mother? We plant the seeds with our hands of some plant, some tree, something that at the end will bring a new life and will bring beauty. That beauty is the cloth of the Mother Earth. How is our relationship with the Father Son? If we are grateful with the wisdom of the light, with what the Father brings to life, that presence of the Father means life. Without his presence, there is no more life. Being aware, that consciousness of the light. The third relation on the right side, how harmonious is our relation with our blood family. This is a biggest cosmic event, cosmic experience to harmonize with our blood family. By some reason of the cosmos, we have the family we have. On the left side, we have the neighbors. And not only the humans, the neighbors, humans, plants, animals, stone people. The tricky relationship to need to harmonize is the future, the past first, that's in front of us. It's all about how we deal with the past. If we don't feel comfortable with ourselves, most of the time we are not comfortable with anybody. And of course, it's their fault. The thing is really about those heavy energies, how it's impacting in our lives. So as we clarify the past, we clarify the future. It's so important to see that. Our future, then, it is in the present moment. We are building it in the present moment. Each attitude from the heart is the most extraordinary seed we are planting to harvest in the future. But we enjoy doing it in the now. So the sixth relation, that is the future that we don't see yet, it's behind. We guarantee it's going to be extraordinary if we bring the extra. in the seeds we plant. What is that extra? Is our own light, our authentic self, the real self. So when we are loving ourselves, probably we will see all the 6 other relations are in harmony. If we don't, if we are not in harmony with some of these relations, some of the elders will say, you're sick. That means that we need to harmonize. We need to heal. Sometimes we are wasting energies. We are leaking energies in some of the relations. We have great dreams, but we need to do like a feng shui in our lives. How we are nurturing our soul is so important. How we are nurturing the physical body, the mental body. In all the bodies, if we take care, if we see it comes from the inner sun, its guarantee is the best medicine. But if it comes only from the ego, if it's only the mind, probably it can bring us some success, but doesn't guarantee that freedom, that salka, that wild, unique, and domesticated being that lives in each of us. So for this new cycle, for this new world, I wish you many hummingbirds, as in our legend says, as we open our petals, we are opening to our sweetness, to our nectar, to our beauty, to the essence of life. But first, we have to try that sweetness. We have to take care of the flower that is blooming today in your heart. Thank you very much. It was a great honor to be part of this beautiful soul circle, the souls of light. Thank you. It was a great honor for me.
Oh, Jorge, thank you so much. And I do want to, I put it in the chat box, but Jorge leads retreats. Can you imagine how much fun it would be to meet up with this man in South America and do one of his retreats? And so the website is Kontiki Peru, KONTIKIPERU, kontikiperu.com. And I would love to do a retreat with you, Jorge. I can tell that it would just be a very rich and vivid experience because you are truly a mystico. And thank you for joining us again today. And I certainly look forward to our next connection. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Really, let's do it. Let's figure out when we can go to South America with Jorge. Irina, thank you so much for your patience. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and we get to wrap it up with you. And likewise, whatever you kind of want to share, since you're our final presenter, anything that is in your heart to share at this time.
Well, as a final presenter, I want to bring us back into our body, reflecting on what my co-presenters were talking about, guilt, shame, self-love, being present in the moment, all that manifests through our physical body. We often feel shame about our physical body, how it looks, how it feels. We feel guilt, how we treat our physical body, how we allowed others to treat it, what we put and consume into our physical body. So all that can be captured and stuck literally in certain parts of our physical body. Purification will bring us deeper into the present moment, into the connection to the Mother Earth through our physical body. This is our vehicle, and this is what actually connects us to Mother Earth physically. So moving your physical body, whether it be through yoga, through exercise, dance, your daily walks, all that is important for that purification, deepening the connection, and practicing self-love. If we don't love ourselves, we're not going to be able to extend that love to the outside world. And loving yourself, loving your physical body is bringing you one step closer to deepening and sharing that love. And I just want to say that we are so blessed to be alive at this time where we can easily access all this knowledge, so much knowledge, from indigenous knowledge to the knowledge of our galactic family. And through such a variety of knowledge, daily practice, and the discipline with those daily practices and rituals, we expand our light through the purification of our physical body and our mind. We expand our light. Our light becomes the power we release, the power which creates, the power that manifests a single thought into something great. The divine within us brings forth our values through every action, every decision we make. And only then, through the divine within ourselves, through the pure essence of who we truly are, can we gift the world with such a purity and the divinity that we all hold. We can gift the world with our divine essence. And when we each gift the world with our divine essence, we in fact create the world of the divine. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I've just put into the chat box your website, and I want to take you to it and just have you share with us a little bit about what you're going to be doing. You're collaborating with actually somebody else who's been on our show. So tell us about your work and how people can be involved. And I love what you call it, enlightening journeys and expeditions. Yes. You and Erika and Astarius and Jorge have all been leading us on a journey today. And I love the journeys inside ourselves and also journeys outside. So tell us about what you're going to be doing.
So this is a collaborative project that it's been alive for the last 12 months together with Jeff Vanderklut and Yanni Maniatis. And we do take people on inner journeys. So the latest one is the embodying the infinite. And it'll be a 7-week journey. So we hold sessions every second week. The sessions are 2 hours long. The 4 themes that we have planned for the upcoming journey are the alchemy of enlightenment, connection to the cosmos and creation, the divine mating, and communion and interbeing. So those are the themes that we'll be exploring. And it starts on 12th of March. So if you go to the page that Scott's so kindly shared, scrolling down to the bottom of your page, you can fill out the expression of interest form, and we'll then be in touch with you to guide you through the registration process. So it's a wonderful community that we built. We usually have between 35, sometimes even 40 people. And we split classes in 2. So there's 2 sections each time. That way we can actually have a more intimate environment. It's very co-creative and very interactive sessions that we lead. So everyone gets time to share and to be involved. So that's my upcoming project and offering. But
Beautiful.
I am available for one-on-one sessions as well. Apart from yoga and meditation, I am a whole being wellness coach. So I do teach people how to integrate the energetic anatomy into their well-being.
And can people contact you for private coaching through your website?
They can contact me through that very website. They just need to express that they want to get in touch with me directly.
Okay, and again, that website is enlighteningjourneys.com.
Journeys.com.
Enlighteningjourneys, plural.com. And thank you so much, Irina, for being with us. And again,
thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's wonderful. What an amazing group today, huh? Well, I want to just remind people of a couple of other things that are happening. Our Global Peace Tribe is always growing and expanding, and there's always wonderful things taking place. And tonight, Christy Michaels has an event, and in a moment, Christy, I'll give you a chance to talk about that if you want. So I'm going to bring you up as a, I'll put the spotlight on you in a moment, so just want to give you preparation for that. We've talked a lot about self-love, and I want to remind everybody that the Global Peace Tribe hosts a show every Thursday morning on self-love. It's the self-love show, and I want to make sure that I'm spotlighting that properly. There we go. It's the self-love show with my good friend Trish Wright. Trish is my co-host every Friday night, and she and her girlfriend Dawn have this beautiful show every Thursday morning on self-love. And it's very dynamic and a beautiful opportunity to learn tools, practices, and to go deeper. Quite often, a lot of their speakers and guests, they usually only have one guest on for an hour, and so that's a chance to go deeper with that particular guest. So really do check it out. It's Thursday mornings, 10 o'clock, or go on Facebook and just put in Self-Love Show, and you can go back and watch some of the replays. They do a wonderful, wonderful job. And next weekend on the Awakening World, it's a really important topic. It's social and racial justice. About 6 weeks ago, I was kind of in meditation, and it just came to me. I've got to do a show on what are actual specific, what does social and racial justice even really mean? Like we all go, yeah, I want that. What does it really mean? What do we need to understand, especially those of us that are privileged, those of us that are not fully aware of what is really going on in so many levels. And so I'm very proud of the people that are going to be participating next weekend. We've got some really extraordinary leaders in the field of racial and social justice, including Sharif Abdullah, who runs the Common Way Institute. He's a very well-respected teacher who's traveled the world. He has been to 85 countries and has a global perspective that's powerful. We have Reverend Bridge Feltus joining us. She runs the Remembrance Institute, which is an amazing series of courses on racism. We have Dr. Marty Casey. We've got Josie Ann coming back. My good friend Oshala D that I've been working with for 40 years. And as always, great music. Nina Gray, Ivy Hilton, Fagari and Fanny, and many, many others. Pato and Antoinette, how could I forget them? Pato Banton, the amazing reggae star, his wife Antoinette. It's going to be a powerful weekend, an important weekend. So please, not only come, but share it with other people. And it may not be as much fun as some of our shows, but it's as important as anything. We all need to learn what can we really do to create greater social justice, greater racial justice, to take a look at the ways that we support colonization thinking. I'm 66. I've been studying this stuff for a long time, and I still have so much to learn about my thinking that is, based on the world that I've grown up with. So please, please, please join us next weekend. All right. If Christy has turned on her camera, she has. There she is. Hi, Christy.
Hi.
So tell us about what you're going to be doing this weekend. And I'll pull up the poster.
Yes. Last night I went to sleep and it was really quiet. And I was really struck by your share, Scott, about your friends in Ukraine. And somebody sent me the Black Madonna of Ukraine, Our Lady of Ukraine. And it just really hit me because there's a story about one of the biggest basilicas in Europe to the Black Madonna was made because the king was pleaded with the Black Madonna, please help end the plague in my area. And it ended. And so he built the biggest basilica to her. So there is power in our calling out and our reaching out to the creative Mother Spirit force, the energy that created us all, as was so eloquently pointed out at the beginning of your show. And we are so fortunate because, Scott, this is what I love about what you and Deborah Giusti have done. You've built this community. It gives me hope to know that there are so many people that have expanded their consciousness to such a place where we can be a field and a force for good to be reckoned with in this world. We can send out our vibrations of love and peace and healing. We can hold that for people, that peace can come, that it's peace on earth. and it's actually heaven on earth as well, so.
Absolutely. I'm just pulling up the Peace for Ukraine poster for a moment, and just a reminder, everybody, that please let's stop throughout the day and pray for peace for Ukraine and, of course, peace for the world. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then your social justice piece is really great. So Healing America, because this is Black History Month, we're having Dr. Marty Casey come on and talk about the work in Ferguson. And so we're going to do the candlelight vigil before as a part of the opening. And then Gary Malcolm, who is a master at helping music heal and create the coherence. And then Dr. Mwanza Fuara and her partner in her music rendition of Maya Angelou's poems. Now, Gail Muldrow used to play in Prince's band. She was the lead female guitarist with Prince. Wow. So they knocked it out of the park. And I got a taste of the rehearsal yesterday. And it was like, whoa, this is so cool.
Wow. So that's
because they are the heart and soul. And she uses her music for healing, the words and the power of the words that resonate in our being and send out this wave of love. So it's going to be fabulous, folks. And love to have you come and join us and be a part of such a wonderful thing. And thank you so much, Scott, for all your support and bringing forward these tough issues and allowing people's voices to be heard and the conversations to be had. My hat's off to you. God bless you. Thank you so much.
So again, it's at 6:00 tonight. And if you go to gospelofmarymagdalene.info/about-3, and I'll put that link into the chat box for people real quickly, because we are about to wrap up. But thank you, Christy, for all that you do. And thank you for all your support. And we'll look forward to seeing you tonight.
Yes, may peace prevail.
May peace prevail. So I just put that into the chat box. And thank you, everybody, for watching. A reminder that all of our shows, you can find all of our shows on the Global Peace Tribe website. Just go to YouTube and put in Global Peace Tribe. We have a wonderful channel on YouTube, and I'm really proud of all that content that I put up there. All of our shows, and also I sometimes create segments based on really powerful presentations that take place. So please do join us. And that's it for now. Last thought, and also I always want to welcome those of you watching the replay, the recording, because a lot of people watch the replay. This is called the Sacred Sunday Show, but remember, we can make any day, any moment sacred by choosing to see the divinity, seeing the divinity in nature, seeing the divinity in our friends, seeing the divinity in people that we get triggered by, seeing the divinity in ourselves. That's how we make everything sacred. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Much love to you, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you tonight on Christie's event and or next weekend.